Now, one huge section of society that's experienced big changes in their lives over the last year are, of course, young people, hit hard by the closure of things like hospitality venues as a source of work, as well as entertainment, and the unprecedented restrictions on face-to-face teaching in schools and universities, plus all that followed from that in terms of social isolation and effects on mental health. Well, let's discuss all those issues. I'm joined now by Josephine Helen, who's 25 and is an actor and singer and has launched her own business during the pandemic. Jenkins, he's 20 and is a third-year student at Warwick University, and Mollie Mardel, who's 16 and is at school in year 11. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Lots to discuss. But first of all, from all of you, just a short feeling on the fact that you are the generation who, as we're going to discuss, have suffered an awful lot in so many different ways during the course of this pandemic, by and large, though, to protect older people. How do you feel about that, Josephine?
I think there's a lot of heaviness around young people. I think as a result of this, a lot of us do feel very anxious. So I think that's the main thing that young people are feeling currently, is very anxious.
Johnny, is it a sacrifice for you that's been worth making?
Of course, because these people who are a little bit older and a little bit more vulnerable are our loved ones. And so I am completely comfortable with having made sacrifices over the past year. It's not been easy, it's not been fun all the times, but young people aren't special. We've all been affected by the pandemic, and we're just one group of society amongst many others.
And Mollie, you go along with that, Joe. We're all in it together.
I think it's been such an individual experience for everyone, but I think certainly it's been really grounding and taking a step back and having time to reevaluate. I think it's just really important for all of us.
OK, well, let's stay with you, Mollie. I want to talk about your individual experiences. You all experienced lockdowns in different ways. And Mollie, so year 11, that means, of course, you had the last couple of terms of year 10 disrupted, and it goes on. Presumably not sitting GCSEs this year, getting an assessment, or maybe your school is giving you some exams. Tell us about it.
So they've said, obviously, the government announced exams were cancelled, but our school has decided that we're going to do smaller scale tests inside school. It's going to set our grades for our GCSEs.
And how has it been, Mollie, all that teaching and learning from home? How have you managed that?
I mean, me certainly, I've much preferred working from home, because I feel like once you take yourself out of the school environment, there's so much more, you take a step back and you can say, hang on a sec, this is who I am and these are the things that I'm interested in. And to isolate that side of yourself away from school has been so beneficial, especially for me, to see that it's not all about grades on a piece of paper. It's about the education that you get from things outside of school. And I think that's been a really important thing for everyone to realise, that, that you can get this distinction between, those busy environments and actually staying at home. So I think it's been a really good experience for me. Very
positive. Johnny, what's the university experience been then? What did I say? Third year at Warwick. So similar pattern then, different experience in terms of what Mollie's been through. So your second year disrupted, and now it goes on through virtually the entirety of your third year. Presumably you had a bit of face-to-face teaching, a return to campus, a return to university at the end of last year?
At the end of last academic year, no, but towards the end of 2020 and before Christmas, I had 3 months at university having face-to-face teaching, and that was really good, a really fantastic experience. But over the past 12 months, I've spent just those 3 months at university, the rest of it studying from home. This time last year, I came home for the Easter break to see my family here in Southend in Essex, and I stayed here instead of for 6 weeks, for 6 months. And that was really difficult at first, having to adapt, get my head around what's going on and how it's affecting us. And I've just finished the second term of my final year at university, and that's all been at home as well. It's been difficult. The education isn't the same. The teachers and the lecturers are working incredibly hard to try and get a quality experience for us, but no matter how hard they try, they just can't match that face-to-face teaching. So hopefully after Easter, when things ease a little bit, I'll be able to get back to university and spend some of my last few weeks face-to-face in the classroom.
We really hope so. So, Josephine, acting and singing, well, we know what's happened to that over the last year. Tell us about that and the opportunity then you've taken out of it. Do you see it as an opportunity? You've set up your own business.
Yeah, so almost overnight, my whole industry was shut down. And as a performer, you often work in bars and restaurants and things like that. So your second part of income was completely gone as well. So I'd kind of had this idea about my business starting anyway, which is Josephine Stories. And then when lockdown happened and I had to move home, which I was very thankful to have my family there, I was able to put a lot of time into starting my own business. And we're actually 1 years old, and I've achieved quite a lot in a year. So it's been a negative and a positive process.
1 year old, like the original lockdown. Very good to hear that. Let me talk to you, though, about, I mean, it's so important to everyone, of course, and that social interaction we've all been missing. But you at these formative periods of your life, Mollie, have you been able to keep in touch with people? And, you know, is that affecting you mentally a bit, the ways you've got to interact with your friends?
So I think before lockdown started, we knew that we were going to have to adapt to a different way of communicating with each other and interacting with each other. But I'm so lucky in that I've got such a supportive group of friends, and we kept in touch via Zoom, like I am now. We kept in touch via social distance walks when we could. And I just think it's so nice that people and families and everyone that I know, or like most everyone that I know, has been so supportive with them. And just knowing the importance of keeping social communication as well as everything else that's going on.
Johnny, has it got you down a bit, the lack of social interaction? I mean, some people say, particularly some students say, the social side is as important as the academic one.
Yeah, a lot of people go to university because they want to make friends, and it is a really big part of it. I think there is a positive to take from it, which is that those I've lived with, my flatmates when I was at university, I've been able to spend so much time with them and get to know them even better. And at the moment, I'm spending a lot of time with my family, which is great. In terms of seeing friends at the moment, well, I've got lots of friends at university who have travelled back. The government haven't been very clear of when we can go back to university. So pretty much all of my friends have decided to pack their bags and just go back of their own accord. And I'm video calling a lot of them and catching up. It's not the same, but it has given me an opportunity to see some friends that live here in Essex. So I went on a walk with a good friend yesterday, and we can see each other face to face. So there are some positives to take out of it, but I'm missing a lot of people.
OK, we'll hopefully get to see more of them soon. Josephine, of course, acting and singing, all about collaboration and interaction. Has that affected you a bit, not being able to do that, or has the business kept you busy?
Well, on a personal level, I've actually suffered quite a lot of grief myself in the past year. And as a griever, I found this time really, really hard because grief's a very lonely place anyway. And even when you're in a room full of people. So in a time when we can't have our loved ones there to hug us and look after us, it's been quite difficult. So my business has definitely kept me going, yeah.
Listen, it's been fantastic talking to you all. Best, and I mean this most sincerely, best of luck for the future. You are the future. Really good talking to you all. Thank you very much indeed.